Welcome back, everybody, to the Hearthstone Global Games. We just saw Austria make short work of their opposition, but now we move on to Belgium versus France. My name's Dan Gaskin, and I've got the other Dan. I have Falcone here with me. That was a quick one, a nice quick way to start the day.
Blisteringly fast, yeah, comparing it to the final game that Lorinda and I cast yesterday, which was quite the opposite of a fast game. It's nice. It's nice that there's so much variety in Hearthstone at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes just bringing those aggro lineups as well. They can be brave, especially in this meta where everything can be so control heavy. It can go against you having the aggression, but clearly it worked out for Austria in this instance.
Yeah, Evangelion tried to counter the Pirate Warrior, which Wife Coach has been playing every week, by the way. Tried to counter it with his control-y Shaman, but just wasn't able to stabilize. And in this instance, aggro reigns supreme.
Well, now we move on into Group F then, and we're going to be seeing Belgium versus France. Yesterday when we saw Denmark competing, they were saying it's really going to depend on how results go elsewhere, so they will be watching this one closely. France in a position that if they lose, they are out. They won't be able to qualify for the second stage, whereas Belgium, if they do lose, they'll be hoping that the results go elsewhere with Denmark playing later as well next week. So a lot to play for both sides. A really exciting one that is going to be coming onto your screens shortly. And to be honest, France versus Belgium, both solid rosters for me, Dan.
Yeah, there are a few funny things going on in this matchup, actually, because as you say, Denmark need France to win, and Hoy was tweeting that, and Best Marmot was saying, yeah, okay, we'll do our very best, and then Maverick tweeted in response to that, your best won't be good enough. Of course, the other funny thing that we've been talking about a little bit is that everyone seems to think Maverick is French. Maverick lives in France, but he's playing for Team Belgium. It's all a bit of a mess, really.
A little bit of a mess, but we know really who Maverick is going to be representing there. You can see the rosters on your screen. Maverick, Oleg, Chinoise, and Arne, should I say. Demon, Talk, You Need, and Best Marmot. Now, I also heard a little fact that actually Chinoise was saying that the French pronounce his name wrong as well, so maybe there's going to be a little bit of a rivalry there, him just wanting to cement the fact that his name is his name.
I can't imagine what that pronunciation would be either. Have you given it any thought?
I don't know, Chinois or something like
Chinois?
that. Just trying to think of some French way of saying it, but either way, we are going to move into this matchup, and Dan, you know I like my my little facts.
Oh no.
Do you want to know a nice little fact about Belgium?
Nope, but you're going to tell me anyway.
I am going to tell you any. History would actually suggest that Belgium invented cricket.
Cricket?
Yeah, and actually the Brits, the English, we think we created cricket, but no. History would suggest it was actually Belgium.
Well, on this occasion, history is wrong.
History might be wrong, who knows. Also, good fact for France as well, and this one's just, I think I remember this one. The Eiffel Tower is painted once every 7 years on average.
Wow.
By hand as well.
It must take a lot of paint and a lot of very high ladders.
Has changed a colour a couple of times as well, I believe. Only a very different shade, but it has changed, yeah.
There's a lot of effort going into painting what is a very, very beautiful treasure.
It is, and everyone from Paris, of course, loves the Eiffel Tower.
I've been to the Eiffel Tower.
Good for you, so have I.
Yeah, it's good.
We'll go there together, maybe, one day.
That sounds really romantic, Dan.
Here are the classes, then, that everyone is going to be bringing from both Belgium and France. It is a best-of-5 format. All 9 classes are brought by both countries, and if we go to 2-2, we get to that ace match where a player gets to play again, and they will get to play that 9th class if they want, rather than the one they had already previously used. Now, Dan, before we even get into the itty-gritty, the nitty-gritty of deck lists, do you have a favourite from either country just based on the players alone?
It's actually really difficult this time. I think both of them are solid lineups. I was very impressed by Belgium when they were able to defeat Denmark before. Now Denmark need France to beat Belgium, as we were talking about. France is very much a community team. It's one of those, like Italy, like Finland, etc. It's got the big streamers on it. It's got the, I believe that a lot of them stream for a big stream Twitch channel rather than from their own Twitch channel. So there's a lot of community going on there, and I do like to see the community teams. I'd love to see them playing together. Let's just say that. If any of the teams have players playing together, I'm on that side.
Yeah, I think it's really nice when we get the communities, when you get these teams coming together and playing as one. It's what the Global Games is about, to be honest, making those friendships and being able to work as a single unit. First game of the day then, Maverick versus Demon, and we're going to have the Rogue matchup. Could potentially be a mirror. Obviously, Quest Rogue has been very popular, but we did see Miracle Rogue pop up and make an appearance recently too. If we are going to have that quest rogue mirror dam, what do you think are the key cards that we really need to be seeing, aside from the obvious of just bounce back effects?
Igneous Elemental is great if the player can actually get it to be destroyed, which is something kind of odd because in these mirror matches, you can prevent that from ever happening.
Oh, yeah.
Preparation, I think, is a very important card if one of the teams does get to the point where they are completing the quest. It means they can just cheat it out that much early and start pushing that damage in. I think preparation's key. The only problem with that is that it doesn't actually bring the player any closer to achieving the quest. So there are lots of kind of ifs and buts there. Ultimately, both players are just going to want a lot of bounces, like you said.
And both these players actually fantastic in their own right as well. Maverick achieving various success across DreamHack tournaments, for example. Did make top 8 of the HWC Europe in 2015 as well, so he has been there in Blizzard-sanctioned events. On the other side for Demon, he has a fantastic record across HCT playoffs. I believe he's 18-6 in total across the whole of the playoffs. So that's a pretty good record to be holding.
Good win rate. That's a very good win rate.
Very good win rate.
On the other side of things, Maverick, he was playing in spring playoffs last week. I think we talked about this then. I will bring it up again now because it's just so unfortunate. 9th. He came 9th in the Swiss, not quite making it through to top 8. In fact, I believe 8th seed was Hoy, who ended up winning the whole darn thing.
It's a shame there when it does come down to those tiebreakers, but regardless, now he gets a chance to prove himself for his country, and we are going to have Quest Rogue versus Quest Rogue. You said, Dan, that
look at this hand.
Igneous Elemental is very important.
Bouncers, Igneous Elementals on both sides. Shadow Step's obviously a little bit better than Youthful Brewmaster. Patches, not so great. I'm actually very curious as to how this Mulligan's going to go. Did France just keep everything?
It does look like France have kept anything. Interesting as well, the Youthful Brewmaster, of course, is one of those minions that can kill off the Elemental, aside from the Ferryman, which can just means it dies across 2 turns rather than the 1. I have noticed that matchups do change significantly.
What was that word?
I don't even know.
Try that again?
No, I'm not even going to try that.
Oh, one more time.
I'll get it wrong. Significantly.
Aww.
There we are.
Right.
We've got English Diction today with Dan Gaskin.
Did you hear mine earlier? It was terrible.
I did. I need to warm up, do my mouth movements. But yeah, it can change a matchup, just the difference between Brewmaster and Ferryman for me.
Double Igneous Elemental sitting pretty in Disdamon's hand. It's going to be a question, as I said before, is can Maverick create a situation where he doesn't need to destroy these Igneous Elementals? If these Igneous Elementals do get destroyed, then that's going to be a very fast quest completed. Patches constantly making his way back into Maverick's hand.
Which isn't fantastic. Of course, once you want that quest completed, it is always nice to play deckhand and get 2 5/5s charging on the board. But a very similar hand for both players at the moment, to be honest. Just the deckhand really making the difference for Maverick. If he can get that quest completed first, he will be not only in an advantageous position because of the quest, but having those charge minions does always help.
Yeah, ultimately having Patches in hand isn't the worst thing once the quest is complete. The problem with having it in hand is that it's an extra card that's sitting there and is in no way contributing towards the completion of the quest. We'll just watch as this board just gets filled up with Igneous Elementals. These guys both have a game plan, both have the same game plan, and they're both going to be scheming and trying to work out ways of preventing these Igneous Elementals from ever being destroyed.
Speaking of prevention, Glacial Shard is always going to make a difference.
Good.
Maverick could have the option of just freezing this one up if he would like. However, it does look like he is just more than happy to send some damage to face instead.
Stone to Spore, another charger. Slightly better than Patches because you can run 2 of them, therefore it essentially can take you closer to completing the quest, though I think Plan A is looking a little bit more tempting. Even, we might end up completing the quest with Igneous Elementals at this rate. There's 2 here from Disdamon. He can play the second one, he can then later bounce the first if it looks like it's never going to get destroyed. It's not ideal, but it's a possibility.
At any point the Belgium are slightly concerned of that Igneous Elemental dying, then that's when perhaps the Glacial Shard will come on to play. A reason I think the Maverick not playing it instantly is Glacial Shard can be so good with completing the quest with those bounce back effects. A fantastic way to just outright control the board. And at the moment, both teams are really heavily fighting for this control.
Yeah, especially once the other team's quest is complete. If you can just stop these 5/5s from attacking by freezing them a bunch with Glacial Shard several times, now that's just another way of just getting 1 extra over on your opponent. 2 Fireflies being picked up means that Maverick is one step closer to completing the quest. He's got the tools he needs, he just needs the mana. And again, for about the 5th time this game, I'm going to mention, he needs the Igneous Elemental to die somehow.
Yeah, that's the only issue at the moment. And by choosing not to run his elemental into the opposition elemental at any point, just going for the damage, means that he's not able to pop it this turn as well. And the fact that Tiz Demon has 2 on board does change everything considerably. Hungry Crab, a very interesting Tekken decision. We have seen it quite a lot in Quest Rogue, to be honest. Not really going to help out in this matchup, though.
Yep, not really, not at all. Not unless there were 2 picked up and maybe 1 Mimic Podded, just to make it a very, very easy quest complete. It's possible that there's a Bilefin Murloc dude in Maverick's deck somewhere. It could pick up a cheap kill against that, but it won't be getting rid of the ooze that it summons, so it ends up being just non-impactful.
So you said earlier that we might see the quest be completed by the elementals. I mean, Tiz Demon does have that option if he would like next turn.
It's genuinely possible. Attack 1 in now to the Firefly, bounce it back, play it again, and then next turn bounce it back and play it again. Problem is, then activating the quest just is such a long time away. He needs to complete it as soon as he can. The sooner he completes it, the sooner he can take complete board control and just start smacking the damage into the face. It looks like Dizdemon going to go for a different win condition here, which is control the board with the cards before the quest is complete. And actually, looking at the way this board's shaping up, that's a possibility. Vanish is the way that he'd lose his board here. And if these Igneous Elementals did get vanished, then he could just play both back again and complete the quest.
Yeah, Maverick may be in somewhat of an advantageous position if he does get that Vanish out first, but Tiz Demon's certainly going for the game plan of, I'm just going to outright control this board and make you have the decisions of when to trade. Which is a nice position to be in, to be honest.
Yep, Dizdemon actually able to trade in his Igneous Elemental next turn anyway and destroy it if he wanted to. This could be one of those really weird Quest Row games where the winning player doesn't even complete the quest. I think it's possible. Unlikely, but possible. Glacial Shard going to prevent the weaker Igneous Elemental from dying. Maverick doing what he can to just put a stop to the win condition on the other side, while also furthering his own win condition. That's 2 Fireflies played, 2 Flame Elementals in hand.
Yeah, they can bounce 1 more back with the Brewmaster and play a 3rd. If you would like, you'd probably keep it in your hand, though. Maverick really searching for another bounce back effect. Of course, that Vanish can be used as a bounce back if he would like, but it looks like he's more concerned about stopping this incoming bombardment of damage from France.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, is that there's now a 3-2 on your side of the board, so you need to freeze the 2-3 just to prevent him from suiciding it and adding the Flame Elementals into hand. I think we're 2 for 2 on both sides, actually. Long way to go for both teams to complete. This is just turning into a jigsaw puzzle of a game of Hearthstone. Novice Engineer, not the worst pickup from Dizdemon, as he's just going to want to get some alternate ways of completing the quest.
Likelihood is, as well, we might end up in a situation where both quests do get completed, and then we're going to see Vanish into play some cards, into Vanish, into play some cards, into Vanish, into play some cards, and see who finally gets the most board control. And to be honest, I mean, it depends if we can actually see one of these players kill off one of these elementals to get those extra flame elementals into their hand.
Yep, that would dramatically speed up the process of this game. Dizdemon just going to play the Vanish now. Next turn, he can drop both Igneous Elementals, and that'll do it. That'll complete the quest. He's doing all he can to, just like Maverick was on his side, he's now going to prevent Maverick from suiciding his Igneous Elemental. Maverick's quest is 2 with Firefly at the moment, so those Flame Elementals aren't going to get him any closer just yet to finishing up. Wow, the mind games here, the constant disruption on both sides, it's actually working out very well for both players, and very badly.
Yeah, Belgium in a sticky situation now. They could draw if they want, or they could just try and cement some sort of board pressure, knowing that what's going to be coming from France. They know full well that Igneous Elemental can complete them the quest if they want to play 2 of those next turn.
Belgium going to start by drawing some cards by the looks of it, though his hand is looking very full. The only real limitation that Maverick has is just lack of mana. You're going to just drop both Flame Elementals, bounce onto the hand. I like this a lot. It means that next turn he can replay it, play the second Brewmaster, and then replay it again to complete the quest. There's nothing Dizdemon can do to stop that, suddenly his turns are numbered. However, there's also nothing Maverick can do to prevent this side of the quest being completed. Double Igneous Elemental will do the deed.
Yeah, preparation will be nice on either side, to be honest, to be able to get that quest out nice and quickly. We'll get the crystal out, should I say. So likelihood here, what France are going to play both of these elementals.
Hit the weapon into the Novice Engineer.
Yep.
And freeze the 3-2, maybe?
I'm thinking that, yeah.
Maybe he wants to save the freeze. It's complicated, though. He could decide that he'd prefer to play the freeze when the minions are 5/5s and when it's actually relevant in preventing an important trade.
A preparation would be massive for Maverick as well if he was to draw it in his next turn, because he would be able to play one of those Flame Elementals, prep that Vanish out, and then play more onto the board to gain the board control before he completes the quest in the following turn.
Time running out for Disdemon. You're going to have to make this decision sooner rather than later. The freeze happens as originally predicted. Both Igneous Elementals coming down, which is great. Quest complete. Next turn he can use it. Problem is, Igneous Elemental's still only done sort of half of its job. Well, no, it's not really done its job at all. It's not created the Flame Elementals, and this means that there are less 5/5s in Disdemon's hand ready to go. Like, as far as 5/5s go in this matchup, 3-mana 5/5s are quite expensive.
But it does mean that when we get to the point where both players have completed the quest and he starts to trade in with those 5/5s, he's going to have an endless amount of them in his hand.
Yeah, eventually. I'm wondering if Belgium are going to just never destroy these Igneous Elementals now. They're going to have to start doing something. Vanish seems like it would be very strong against Igneous Elementals again because it just costs so much mana to replay them. Then again, there's also 1-mana 5/5 in France's hand in the form of the Stone to Spore. There's a 2-mana 5/5 with the Novice Engineer. There's a Bouncer. Things are looking very, very good for France here just because they've completed the quest first. And I think it's going to be up to him now to trade away Maverick's board and make sure that he is getting less value from this completed quest than Disdemon is.
You do have to trade off something, though. Yeah, good. I was worried he wasn't going to.
Hatches not going to come out. We've seen Maverick pick that card up twice already. Wow, just spitting little bits of damage already while developing as wide a board as possible. I like this from Maverick. Glacial Shard going to be able to stop one minion, Stone to Spore, and the two Igneous Elementals going to be able to stop another two from attacking. But that's it. 1 5/5 is being left on the board for Maverick next turn. Plus the deck hand, plus the patches in hand, ready to go. This game is about to speed up a notch.
It is. Still needs that preparation, actually.
That would make a huge difference.
Especially if Belgium were able to get it. But they just need to plan around not getting that preparation. That would be in an ideal world, but they need to be considering what are their options at the moment. Of course, relatively simple for France. They're, of course, going to play that Crystal Core. You're then going to trade in. Okay, I like this as an interesting option, actually, as well for France. Trading in first so that you can put more minions on the board after that Crystal Core.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I hadn't considered that, but it looks very strong. Crystal Core is 5 mana, so 3 mana left. Got to work out how he's going to spend this 3 mana, though.
He wants to set up for lethal next turn, so he's probably going to drop both Flame Elementals, then can freeze one if he likes as well. And then next turn you have the Stone Tusk Spore bounce back possibilities.
He's going to play the Boar now. I think this is important just because he has to prevent the maximum amount of damage that Maverick could put out. If he's completing the quest this turn, and if he's got multiple charges in hand, he may have just had lethal. So as well as setting up for his own lethal, Disdemon also has to, again, disrupt his opponent's lethal. This is a matchup that is all about working out what your opponent's strategy is and disrupting it as much as possible. And that's what Disdemon has shown that he's doing here.
This matchup's also about prioritizing which targets you take out as well. What's going to be the most dangerous? I mean, early on, things like Glacial Shard can be very dangerous. Stone Tusk Spore, anything with charge, you of course have to be worrying about as well. So Belgium now going to try and see where and how they can complete this quest, or play it, should I say, play it from their hand, and then what they can do afterwards to try and minimize the chances of lethal from France.
Quest gonna be a good way of starting this turn. Got a lot of charges, gonna have to play them. Looks like Maverick's going to have to settle to just suicide some of his cards into Disdemon's.
Wow, okay.
Oh, okay. Oh my goodness.
And unfortunately, that means he's just dead.
Considering trading the 5/5.
He has to kill off. Yeah, okay. I was worried he wasn't going to kill off the boar. That would have been interesting, but he does kill it off.
Trading off the boar makes the most sense, of course, as well as it does dramatically reduce the maximum amount of damage that France can put out, as long as they don't have a second boar in hand, or a second charge in hand. France trying to pick one up, but actually picks up a preparation. We've talked about preparation so much. It's too late now.
Yeah, that prep's not really helping out too much here. And actually, France in a good spot where they can trade off, or they can actually just bounce back this Glacial Shard just to freeze up. They could, of course, trade off the Taunt first, maybe trade one of the Elementals in as well, go face with the Glacial Shard, bounce it back, freeze everything, bounce it back again, and just keep freezing and put yourself in a position where if they don't have a Vanish, you can just set up lethal.
Yeah, he just has to play it this way. He's going to have to bounce this shard several times, I think, try and prevent all of this damage. But as you say, Vanish is the key card in Maverick's hand right now. It's going to be able to allow the Deckhand to attack again, the Murloc to put up another taunt, and obviously just get rid of France's hand altogether. And Disdemon doesn't have any charges in hand ready to go.
Yeah, killing off that Deckhand was really important. Again, both players doing really well to make sure those charges die. Because we do have patches into Vanish, into patches, but that's only 10 damage.
It's sort of like he's got 2 damage and he's 1 off lethal, because the third charge isn't going to happen.
But actually, the Vanish is going to really help out. I mean, with no charge effect in Disdemon's hand, Maverick now can just play patches, attack face, play Vanish, then put patches and Firefly onto the board, and set up lethal for his following turn.
So many lethal setups, so many disruptions, Vanish doing its thing now. What is the correct replay here from Maverick? I do like the Balefin Tidehunter, putting up the taunt. Again, preventing a possible lethal from Disdemon if he already doesn't think there's a charger there. Now, a charger plus bounce isn't good enough because the charger would have to go into the 5/5, killing itself.
Yep, really good option, keeping patches in hand as well. Just making sure the taunt goes down. And Disdemon's searching, he's shaking his head ever so slightly as well. He needs to find something, because at the moment all he's got is those useless bounce back effects. I guess the only way he's going to be able to survive here is by using that Glacial Shard into bounce backs.
Yeah.
But then Maverick just has lethal.
I was going to say, I think he does need to play that Novice Engineer and keep drawing. Looks like he's going to be freezing the entirety of Belgium's board, but as you say, it's just not enough after what has been one of the strangest Quest Rogue mirror matches, and one of the longest, I think, Quest Rogue mirror matches that I've ever seen. Belgium, Maverick just going to take it away there, just because
Patches, Vanish, patches.
Vanish just working out perfectly for him. Charge minions being the most valuable in this specific game, and Maverick just having 1 charge where Disdemon had run out.
Yeah, and I think Disdemon would have known that this is a possibility. There was always going to be some form of bounce back. Maybe he wasn't expecting the second Vanish, but knew that the likelihood of this game finishing off when he was in that position very high, and Belgium go 1-0 up here. Not good news if you are from Denmark. However, there is still plenty for France to get back into this one.
Yeah, very long way to go yet this series, assuming it doesn't go the same way as the previous one did. I doubt it's going to be a day full of 3-0s as we get into the, as you said earlier, nitty-gritty of, I like that term, nitty-gritty of the Hearthstone Global Games. These guys are going to be wanting to put up a good fight. It's going to be Arne versus Talk later. Arne is the correct pronunciation, apparently. Apologies if I got that wrong before.
Yeah, Arne and Talk, and both bringing Paladin and Mage, so they'll have to choose between the 2 of those. I mean, Paladin is in a position where everyone's bringing it to every tournament at the moment, really, because Control Paladin is so strong. It's also relatively hard to play against in that there are just a few variants of it, which means mulliganing can be somewhat difficult. Are you playing against the aggressive variant? Are you playing against the control variant? I know we are leaning towards the more control Paladin.
Well, funny thing about Paladin is that all 4 players that qualified in the Americas playoffs had it in their lineup. I believe 2 of them were control, 2 of them were mid-range Murloc Paladins. Paladin was somewhat underrepresented yesterday. We didn't see that many Paladin games, but that ends now as Arne is going to be bringing the Paladin and Talk with the Mage.
Yeah, and we spoke yesterday about the Mage and what spots that's in as well. We've got kind of the 3 different styles. You've got your Secret, you've got your Freeze, and then of course you have your Discover as well. People still tinkering with that Mage though, especially that Discover list and the Secret list. Some people are kind of putting them together and seeing if we can find the best way of playing it. Do you think there's any cards that are just core to that Discover list? Is there anything you cannot remove, otherwise you're just completely going to ruin the deck?
Yogg-Saron, Hope's End.
Ah, for goodness sake. Every day.
Should be in every mage. No, of course not. Mana Worm is absolutely core. I think it's kind of joined the Mage elite in terms of core cards now, along with Frostbolt and Fireball, which have always been core Mage cards. Discover Mage usually has at least one Flame Strike, though I've got to say, personal preference, I prefer Meteor to Flame Strike nowadays.
Wow, okay. I suppose it depends on what's happening in the meta. I mean, are you facing just small boards that are big, hefty minions, or are you facing a lot of token-based decks, like Aggro Druid, for example?
It dramatically fixes the Mage versus Silence Priest matchup, I can tell you that much. But as we can see, Talk's opening hand, there is a Mana Worm there. Primordial Glyph, should have mentioned that one when you were talking about key cards. You won't see a Mage deck. My prediction is that you won't see a Mage deck in the next year and a half that does not run Primordial Glyph. It's just that good.
It's a big statement, but I think you might be right. On the other side, Rallying Blade being an interesting inclusion. We have seen it pop up a few times, especially from the United Kingdom's Jambray. He's always been a fan of kind of Egg Paladin, and he was, for me, the first person I'd seen chuck Rallying Blade into this deck, but I'm sure there was someone else who had done it before. It just outright works. Not only is it a nice weapon to have, but there are those Divine Shields that you can combine it with too. Yeah,
it's not super common, but as you say, when we see it, it does tend to work, especially with the Grime Street Protector taunt that appears often from Stonehill Defender. It's got fantastic synergy with that card in the later portion of the game. Talk on the bottom there of Hearthstone Global Games fame. I say that because he appears in our great intro video that we see every week, or twice a week even, along with Raven, Sottle, and Lothar.
I like that Grimescale Chum has come back into the meta. It dipped out, and it wasn't in the Paladin decks anymore, and now it's just been thrown back in. People clearly seeing it as very valuable early game threat.
It's funny that the hand buff cards, they've come through now after Ungoro rather than when Gadget Sand came out. And it's just because they're so much stronger now. Cards like Hydrologist, it's 2 mana 2/2, it's got an okay body, it's got a great effect. If you can buff it with a Murloc buffer before it even comes out onto the board, it's just so strong. Now, it's now a 2 mana 3/3 that gives you a secret. How strong is that card?
Talk actually forced to ping here as well. Always feels bad when you have to coin out a ping, and now the fact that Belgium can just follow up with a Hydrologist that actually has been buffed here, they're in a really good situation where France are already behind on the board. The reason why this Mage is so scary is the fact that it's got all that late game burn, but you can have that early game presence as well. But unfortunately for France, they are just behind already.
Yeah, Talk's play made a lot of sense there, pinging away the 2/1. He just had to. The Murloc synergies are just too strong. If he lets one live, then another one's going to live the following turn. Murloc Wool Eaters become a terrifying prospect. Gentle Megasaurs become scary. He's going to have to continue to do what he can to deal with this board, and he's going to struggle to get rid of this 3/3 here. Archaeologist is sort of the obvious play next turn, but it's not going to get rid of the 3/3. He may have to play Glyph and hope for a Frostbolt, but even then, he's really wasting his resources.
He is, and with Farland's Portal coming off the top, I think that Archaeologist is the definite play here. Just draw one of those secrets. Of course, getting the Ice Block out as well. Important that you do have Ice Block in the hand if you are going to draw the Medivh's Valet later, so you can make sure you get guaranteed value from it. And more early game being drawn on the other side for Arne, though. And this is actually a really sweet spot for him. You can play the Tidecaller, play the Inquisitor, and then play Getaway Kodo. I mean, followed up by Blessings of Kings next turn. Really hot spot for Belgium.
Yep, looks like it's going to be a little bit of a blowout just based on how the first couple of turns have gone. Belgium, Arne may not even decide to play the Murloc Tidecaller here. I think he will, but Vilefin Inquisitor plus Murloc Hero Power is just another option here if you wanted to save the Tidecaller until he could buff it a little bit more later. Though I don't mind playing both 1-drops and the Secret, personally. I just think put as much pressure onto the board as possible. Talk has shown he's not willing to waste his mana dealing with this 3/3. Give him even more that he's not going to be able to deal with.
So reasons for not playing the Tidecaller, I guess. Volcanic Potion you might be worried about, but if you're going to be worried about it now, you're going to be even more worried about it later. So in my opinion, I just get it down nice and early. Try and get as much board pressure with it.
Vilefin Inquisitor will survive a Volcanic Potion anyway. If Getaway Kodo comes down as well, then it's the Secret Murloc that's going to get returned to the hand, generating more secrets. Volcanic Potion off the top, though. Good call there, Dan. It looks like it's going to just have to come down. Talk is nodding though as we said, one Murloc survives, and the most valuable Murloc lives and potentially generates another Getaway Kodo.
Perfect way back into the game for Talk, drawing that Volcanic Potion. As you said, yes, the Hydrologist does go back to the hand, so Arne won't be too annoyed. He does have the option as well of just playing Blessing of Kings onto the Inquisitor if he would like. Always a bit risky going into that next turn because, you know, fireballs are a possibility. And then the board is just downright even and you run out of everything to play.
Yeah, things on the up for France slightly. Murloc Warleader coming down now. Unfortunately, the board is gone. I like Blessing of Kings here. You generate 4 extra damage with charge, ready to go. It's difficult for Talk to deal with. It relies on him having a fireball if he wants to get rid of it.
Yeah, seeing the Warleader come off the top makes that play better because it means your following turn you've got something. You have Hydrologist plus Warleader if you want. That completes your mana curve. Beforehand, it was a little bit awkward and wasn't great. I still don't know if I like it. It is a risk. You do know that fireballs do exist. And maybe you want to keep that Blessing of Kings for a little bit of burst damage later on.
Well, Arne, going to agree with you. Start by adding a secret to his hand. Eye for an Eye can just win the game against a Discover Mage. Getaway Kodo is the other obvious pick, but it's not represented here. The only problem with Eye for an Eye is that it's a little bit early. He has gone for it, which may mean he just has to hold on to it for about the next
whole game.
15 turns.
Yeah, I mean, when you get the option of Eye for an Eye, you're always going to pick it because it can just outright win you the game against ice blocks. Your opponent is going to know that is the secret you've taken because it's not going to be played for so long. I know there's a lot of talk of bluffs and everything like that, but realistically, if you're going to pick a secret, you're not going to be bluffing it because you'll want it to have that early impact if it's going to be something other than Eye for an Eye.
Now, the questions that Talk were just asking himself for a second there is, do I have the mana to fit in a Mana Worm as well this turn? Do I maybe want to play it safe and go with the Ice Block? Nope. He's going to start with Kabbalah's Tome, forget the Mana Worm for now, and he may regret that. He can pick up Fireball, which he would not have been able to play with the Mana Worm, but he's actually gone for Arcane Intellect, which means that Mana Worm would have been a little bit bigger if he played it right at the start of the turn. Not necessarily a misplay. He was just playing some maths and statisticsy games there, working out what the chances were of getting a spell that he'd need to have the mana to play. Unfortunately, this time it backfired.
Yeah, just playing the safe game from Talk. Not entirely surprised. A very good player in his own right, and of course has a lot of accolades behind him as well. I mean, back in 2016 of Seat Story, he got top 4. DreamHack Valencia 2014, if I remember correctly, he got top 4 as well. So definitely has been up there with some big achievements for himself. I've always known him as a relatively safe player, doesn't want to take too many risks, and I think that play demonstrated it.
He also shares a huge YouTube channel with Best Marmot.
Okay.
So as well as being, you know, with professional Hearthstone, they do the YouTube thing. If you speak French, might be worth checking them out. As Arne drops the Murloc Warleader, that Mana Worm, the extra attack on the Mana Worm would have made a difference here, would have allowed for the trade. And now Talk is back to square one again. He's got nothing on the board. He's got no Volcanic Potion this time. And that is a lot of damage staring down. That's 16 damage staring at him right now.
Yeah, can thankfully just ping off that 4-1. But the worry for me, for France, is that Eye for an Eye, Dan. I mean, they're in a good position. We don't see a Flame Strike. We haven't got any board removal. One Volcanic Potion already down as well. Arne can continue to pile on this pressure, get them down, get them close to just that 1 HP. That's important. If you can get them down to 1, that's when you shove the Eye for an Eye on the board, and you just win the game.
I'll be honest with you, Dan, I don't think that's the only worry for France right now. I don't even think Eye for an Eye would be that relevant, just because Arne has almost popped the block anyway. It's looking like 2 more turns is all that Talk have left. Frostbolt going to deal with the Murloc Warleader. That's great. It reduces some damage from the board, but it just means these 5 attack minions go down to 3. It's still more than enough to just pop this ice block, and I can't see anything Talk can do about it.
No, Talk in a very sticky situation, to be honest. I mean, his only hope is to... I'm thinking Flame Strike's not really going to help now. He's going to put the Ooze on the board just to try and take away some form of the damage next turn. But he would need another Ice Block, then a Flame Strike, survive until Alex Straza can come down. But I can't even imagine a way that is possible. And I can see the Eye for an Eye in Belgium's hand as well. As you said, in the end, it's probably going to be not really that relevant. However, it is just going to be a very comfortable way to cement this game, you would think.
I'm just trying to do all of the calculations in my head here, and I can't see any way that Talk comes back into it. Antonidas would be great, not often seen in Discover Mage, would be great later on as a win condition, but he's just never going to get the chance to play it. Yeah, Firelands Portal could get him a taunt, you know, he could get rid of another Murloc and put something up in the way, but even that wouldn't matter because there's a consecration in hand. I don't think there's any way that Talk plays a secret and heals and develops and deals with Arne's board. This game is just far too heavily tilted in Arne's favor.
And if matters weren't worse, I mean, you just play a Finger as well, just to rub a little bit of salt in the wounds. As you said, I'm trying to think of the 1% chance that France get into this. I mean, there's the Flame Strike, but you're just dead. It's not going to help. You don't have a block. You just lose this game, Dan. You can Firelands Portal, search for something. I mean, okay,
maybe
you don't.
You lose this game. I don't.
France lose this game. There's an Avian Watcher, but it doesn't have Taunt because, of course, it was just randomly summoned. Belgium going 2-0 up. Things are starting to look a little bit sticky for France now. Not baguette sticky, just a little bit awkward for them. If they do lose the next match, they cannot qualify for the second stage.
There was a good photo of Chinois with a
really was.
Twitter.
Yeah.
You may want to go and check that out if you haven't seen it. Very entertaining in the lead up to their game versus France. And Chinois going to be feeling pretty good here. He's the 4th player due to play for Team Belgium. He may not even get the chance to. This could be a day of 3-0s in the Hearthstone Global Games. It's how it's looking at the moment. Oleg's Warrior versus Best Marmot's Shaman might change things, though. Evangelion was not able to top Wife Coach's Warrior with his Shaman. Best Marmot may have a slightly better early start.
This is the thing, we've seen a lot of Jade Shaman and Control Shaman come in now, especially since Muzzy's win. The fact that he's popularized Jade Shaman may change your decision-making when you're thinking about what you're going up against. If they have brought that Pirate Warrior, it might be a Pirate Warrior and an Aggro Druid that he actually brought, just 2 aggressive decks. He's already seen Pirate Warrior do well against Control Shaman already today. Maybe we'll see something similar happen.
On the flip side, next game could be a very, very slow one if we do end up with Quest Warrior versus Jade Shaman. That is a slow game. If it's that matchup, get comfortable, Dan, because we could be here for a little while.
It's one of actually my favorite matchups because, well, because of the tokens that you can create, because of the totems you can create. It means that Die Insect gets to a point where you're just hoping for a 1 in 6 and you're hitting those 0-2s turn after turn. It can get very frustrating for the Warrior, and the Shaman can just be sat there having a little chuckle to himself. But
until the 1 in 8.
Yeah, and the flip side is, then it hits one in the face, and then he feels very sad, and it just makes everything very tense.
Is that what you enjoy when you watch Hearthstone, Dan? Do you enjoy watching players get frustrated with each other?
Yeah, I do. I love seeing emotion from Hearthstone players. It's one of the reasons why I love Hearthstone so much, why I love competitions like this, because you have the webcams.
Yeah.
And you can see what they're feeling. You can see how they're reacting, especially when it's teams as well. When you're on your own and you're in your room, you don't necessarily react as much because you think you're just reacting for the public who are viewing. But when you're in a room of 4 of you, you just have your natural emotion come out. You start cheering together. And, well, Dan, we're going to have the Quest Warrior, but it looks like we could be having an Evolved Shaman. Actually, looking at it, the Lightning Bolt, that changes my mind.
It
It's probably
could
going to
be either, couldn't it?
Probably going to be Jade Shaman because the Lightning Bolt inclusion usually means that it's going to be that list that Muzzy made very popular last week.
Yep, again, the Lightning Bolt makes me lean slightly towards the Jade Shaman. It could still be either, though. Devolve, Stonehill Defender, Jade Lightning can be found in either list. Muzzy ran 1 Lightning Bolt, I believe, in his Shaman last weekend. Lightning Bolt not a common card at all in Shaman nowadays, which, as you said to me during the broadcast yesterday, you'd never have expected a year ago.
No, you told me that last year. I would have laughed in your face, Dan.
After hitting 2 lava bursts in my face, as I said yesterday.
Exactly, which probably happened when we played against each other.
Probably.
I don't know what our record is against each other, but who cares?
I care.
Yeah, oh, okay, you
I
care.
really care. You called me terrible last week. Come in for blood.
So, can Belgium put this one to bed? Can they move on comfortably in this group? Or are we going to be seeing France make a comeback? Of course, if France do lose this, they are out. Denmark will be sat at home. They'll be watching. They'll be hoping that France come back into this one.
Get comfortable, because we can tell by the opening hands as well, it's going to be a long game. Dirty Rat could actually be hugely relevant here if it's able to pull out a Stonehill Defender, preventing France from picking up more and more value with that. And France running out of value could just lose them the game. Oleg kind of wishing that he was playing Quest Rogue right now, as he has 2 Dirty Rats in his hand. He can start making some progress towards that quest as well.
Another important factor, I mean, I'm saying about France going out, if Belgium win this 3-0 or 3-1, they are actually through and they do knock out Denmark. Denmark cannot qualify. So very important these next couple of games for Belgium. They don't want to win this 3-2. That allows Denmark with a chance to come back and steal them at the pip. So they need to win this 3-0 or 3-1.
And it was Best Marmot, who we're seeing here on the bottom, who tweeted at Hoy saying, yeah, we'll do our best. So he's doing it for his team. He's doing it for Hoy and Team Denmark. But long way to go. Gonna have to begin the reverse sweep soon. Oleg now, complicated turn. Already, is it just an armor up? Slam definitely is unplayable. He needs to get some card draw with that.
You didn't, none of your options said Dirty Rat then, Dan?
We could Dirty Rat.
I mean, why wouldn't you Dirty Rat, I guess, is my question I could pose to you.
Why wouldn't you Dirty Rat? Well, he's got no idea which type of Shaman this is. Yeah,
exactly.
You could get a Doppelganger, Gangster. You could get a Stonehill Defender. These would be great picks. You could get a thing from below. You could get an Alakir. It's going to be Stonehill Defender, so rewarded for that Dirty Rat.
Yeah, it was a big risk. I mean, when Dirty Rat first came into play, it was against Shaman that it was always the most dangerous, because you never know if you're going to draw out a 4-mana 7/7, for example. Always a scary factor. But Oleg, just counting up his risks, he was rewarded in the end. Won the 2 in 3 possibility rather than drawing the thing from below.
Best Marmot not going to let that happen again, though. He's not picking up too much value from this one either. He just gets a vanilla, pretty much a vanilla 2-mana 3/2. A 2-mana 1/4, which is awful. It's going to have to be Hot Spring Guardian here.
Definitely.
Though the little chunks of healing don't make a huge difference in this matchup. If he can later on get Spirit Echo down on both of these, then maybe the healing becomes relevant.
That's what's going to be important for France. Their whole game plan is getting a lot of value out of that Spirit Echo. If they can, for example, get that Storm Guardian, a 10/10 that just survives against Die Insect, really important, anything that is above that 8 health.
Going to be a long game either way. Second Dirty Rat is a potential. The more I think about it from the Dirty Rat previously, the more I think maybe it makes sense, because he would have had the opportunity to soon after slam and execute whatever gets pulled out. But now, though, going to just bide his time, drawing a Battle Rage, but still a ways away from getting any card draw with this.
Yeah, it's an awkward one. You've already taken one risk with the Dirty Rat. I don't think you want to take another one just yet.
Right, we're going to just make the trade needed to draw 2 cards with the Battle Rage. Makes a lot of sense just because of how slow the hand was looking. But next up, Ali Armorsmith. He's got a regular Armorsmith with a Tar Creeper. Oleg, from now on, is going to have options. Best Marmot needs to get rid of this Dirty Rat any way he can. Not too much of a high priority target, but still better for him to clear the board if possible.
Was it Oleg last week who had the Weasel?
I don't...
You remember in the interview he had that Weasel?
I've repressed that, Dan.
You've repressed that memory? You've just deleted it from your brain? I'm going to bring it back. It's going to be nightmares for you.
No, I'm repressing
I wonder if we'll see it again if Belgium win. Oleg, interestingly, has 70,000 YouTube subs as well. I know we were talking about YouTube earlier.
70,000?
Yeah, so I mean, all these players, very popular, have a lot of fans in their own right. Very nice and decent fan bases. Always nice to have people behind you and support you in your Hearthstone career. But now, Best Marmot is just going to do what he can to try and get back onto this board. Nothing too influential, but now he does have a Jade Claws to start trying to beat down and get rid of this Dirty Rat.
Oleg, another one of the players as well that streams for the stream team, Armor Team. I mentioned this earlier. I don't think I actually said the name of the team. I believe Armor Team and Gamers Origin are just some of these stream teams that are going around collecting great players that don't necessarily speak English on their streams and just creating a big community for French players and other players around the world.
So options for Belgium, and I'll look here. Tar Creeper did come out.
I don't mind just dropping the Ali Armorsmith, as armor generation isn't the most important thing in this matchup, and it's just a decent body that trades well with everything currently on the board.
Yeah, it's important for Belgium that they just continue to dominate this board. Not allow Best Marmot to build up anything that can be, for example, Spirit Echo, that can get out of control. And of course, tech-in cards are a thing. Yes, Oleg will be well aware that this is most likely Muzzy's list, but that's not to say that France haven't just decided to put, oh, okay, let's throw a Bloodlust in here.
Right.
Why not? We've got so many tokens, it could help us in, for example, this matchup.
The Devolve is okay here. Feels like a huge waste, though. I'm trying to work out what you'd prefer to Devolve, because the thing is about the Quest Warrior deck is that there don't tend to be any high-value cards that you actually care about getting Devolved. You'd lose a Taunt, and that's about it in most cases.
Losing the Taunt, I think, is the important factor there, which is what makes me want to keep the Devolve, because later on, when you have a lot on board, and maybe you have a chance at lethal, you want to use that Devolve to get rid of some taunts so you can get that damage to face.
And it looks like Best Marmot is going to play this a little bit aggressively, going to hex away the Ali Armorsmith and actually prevent Belgium from gaining any armor. He's not got a huge board. He's not got any more Jades ready to generate in hand, though. He's got a long way to go before he can actually push any real amount of aggression.
Ravaging Ghoul, a really nice pickup for Belgium as well. It does just get rid of some of these pesky tokens on the board for France. You can follow it up with a Tar Creeper as well and just get back to dominating this board. Tar Creeper is such an annoying pesky minion to get past, especially when you only have those low-cost minions on board that have to trade in. Sometimes you've just got to let it sit there and ignore it.
Yeah. Just looking at both hands here, sort of trying to piece together who's ahead based on this situation. Neither player really feels ahead at this stage. They've both got nothing going on, but the fact that their opponent doesn't have anything going on either, it just means whichever player believes that they're better at surviving in the late game is going to have the advantage. And as you said, in the late game, it comes down to the Sulfuras coming down and Ragnaros hitting wherever Ragnaros hits. I think key card is Brawl, because at some point, Oleg is going to be able to play Brawl and then Hero Power for a 50-50 on the face, rather than a 1 in 6 or a 1 in 8.
Oleg opting to keep Ravaging Ghoul as well. Of course, it synergizes so well with Sleep with the Fishes, so deciding to keep that one back just in case he doesn't draw another Whirlwind effect to help that one out. A lot of pressure on France here, of course, because they're 2-0 down already, but Best Marmot in general, if we're looking at achievements from the rest of his team, he probably has the least to work with.
Ah! Oh, no, it's happening!
Oh.
It's happening! There's a Weasel on the board! Oleg and his Weasel! I was laughing before that happened. I could tell it was coming.
See, when you tell everyone that Oleg got his Weasel out on stream, they don't really know what you're thinking, but we know what happened.
I'm so distracted right now.
The Tunneler comes out. As I was briefly touching on Best Marmot, yes, okay, he's probably the least experienced in terms of achievements for his team, but he did get top 16 DreamHack 2015. He's got top 8 across several minors as well in the French community. So certainly knows how to pilot these decks, and having the support of the likes of Talk behind him is always going to help out.
Yep, for sure. Very much a team effort. A lot of people have been saying, you know, the best player can drag the players with less achievements maybe up with them. Just for a little update, by the way, I believe we're 4 out of 7 on the quest, so time is actually ticking on. Stonehill Defender is going to be 5. The taunt it gives Oleg is going to be number 6. So we're almost there in terms of Sulfuras appearing and Ragnaros raining fire down onto the board. I think I'm guessing that's how Belgium start. There you go. It just popped up right there, 4 out of 7.
Yeah, you Stonehill Defender to start this turn.
I was just wondering what they're talking about, like what they're considering playing instead. Considering a slam there, it looks like to draw a card and then hitting the Warx in, but does go with the Stonehill Defender eventually. That Cyclopean Horror doesn't look bad here at all.
Actually, yeah. I mean, sometimes you pick it up and it's awful, but against a token-based deck,
look at that.
It comes a 3/8 4 mana. A nice little giggle from Oleg as well. He'll be feeling a little bit happy, and they're only one taunt away from completing the quest too.
Eat that, Sen'jin Shieldmaster. Eat that. Best Marmot only now picking up his second Jade card. Again, a Spirit Echo would be fantastic here, getting that Jade Chieftain back in hand. But as things stand at the moment, Best Marmot may have to hex this 3/8. Nope, instead, just going to go for more of a board, play this Chieftain, build up the Jades. I have to admit, things are looking very good for the Quest Warrior here.
Yeah, there's another one. There you go. Complete the quest.
Last one, yeah. That can be completed, and the Sulfuras can come down this turn. No mana to fit in the Hero Power 2, but that doesn't matter too much. Oleg is just going to sort of sit happy and sit tight and wait for Brawl to get picked up and do most of his work for him.
So do you start the turn with Slam? Because I don't think you play Sulfuras this turn because you have the Fiery War Axe to use. So potentially you could start this turn with a Slam and then a trade, and then you play the Hatchling.
Mm.
depending what you draw as well, it might alter your turn ever so slightly.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out if there was any way that he could have played the Fiery War Axe that turn, but there's no point. This board isn't getting any smaller. Sleep with the Fishes is a huge draw.
Okay, so that changes things. Yeah, as I said, really important that he started that with the Slam, because if he had just played the Hatchling, then this wouldn't have been a possibility. Completely wipes out Best Marmot's board, puts the Quest Warrior in such an advantageous position. They can complete the quest next turn, and now Best Marmot has to try and build a board up once again.
And he's got Jade Claws, which is his third Jade Golem, so that's not too bad. It's going to be summoning a 3/3. He can totem up as well and play Thing from Below. So he can put a modest board up, 3/3 totem and 5/5. Problem is, he doesn't have a good way of preventing this Ragnar's hero power from doing some serious damage here. He's not getting any healing in his hand. He's almost run out entirely of any value. This game is starting to look unwinnable for France. We might be seeing our second 3-0 of the day.
Which would be crazy, to be honest, for Belgium. That would definitely put them through to stage 2.
Bad for Denmark.
Bad for Denmark, but I believe they still just have the tiniest of hopes, depending on Canada's final game against Kazakhstan. But knowing that Canada are going up against Kazakhstan, who are currently 0-4, I think Denmark will be feeling like they're pretty much out, because I believe they would need Canada to lose 3-0 against Kazakhstan, which is somewhat unlikely looking at previous results.
A team that's 3-1 versus a team that's probably lost all hope. 0-4 Kazakhstan right now, don't have any chance whatsoever of qualifying. Does seem like it would be a one-sided game. The problem now with Oleg not playing the Sophiros last turn is that he can't actually play it with his hero power this turn. Though, not going to worry too much, going to develop a board, put some stuff down that will trade with anything that Best Marmot plays next turn. Sulfuris going to appear and do a lot of work coming soon. But now, Best Marmot finally picking up some Jade things.
Yeah, he needs to try and get back onto this board. I mean, Belgium are running out of cards, but the fact they can complete the quest and just rain down 8 damage every turn is bad news for France. It's going to get to a position where France are just toteming up every turn and just praying and hoping that that can just accrue all of that damage rather than their face.
How is he going to start this turn? Jade Spirit.
It might be tempting to hex this.
Jade Spirit plus Jade Claws means that he cannot squeeze in the Thing from Below as well. However, we still haven't seen a Brawl, and that's something that Best Marmot, he's not going to want to think about Brawl, but he's going to have to think about it every single turn moving forwards. He goes with the Hex, as you predicted, going to drop the Jade Claws, hit the Taunt away. Goes Armor Smith, gaining armor. Going to be able to make some trades. It's just looking so strong for Belgium now.
So Belgium can get rid of one of the tokens. Just get rid of the Wrath of Bear there, then play Sulfuris. They can actually get rid of the other, and then just send 8 damage to face.
Yep, and that 8 damage is going to continue every turn. As you said, Shaman boards can get nice and big and sort of block the Ragnar's hero power. But Best Marmot's board isn't going to get that big. Yeah, he can play Jade Spirit and a Totem and Thing from Below. He can put 4 minions, now 5 minions on the board. Maybe that makes all the difference, actually.
Yeah, you just go as wide as possible here now, I believe, for France, and you start hoping. But there is an Execute as well for Belgium, which is quite significant. If they were to draw a Brawl, then this is pretty much game over.
The other thing is that Execute has been in the hand since, I think, turn 1. And I imagine Best Marmot are going to consider the fact that that could be a Brawl. But the thing is, he's in the position where if he plays around Brawl, I don't think he ever wins this game. So going to go for it. Going to even play... Brawl is not an object. Going to play both Thing from Belows. Might even play Maelstrom Portal here. Yep. Going to just go for the widest board possible. Doesn't matter how much armor that it's giving his opponent. Good luck, Ragnaros, is what he's thinking here.
A lot of armor gained. But of course, one of those 5/5s can just be taken off the board with his face. And there's a Brawl. Okay.
Pickup. What a game-ending, back-breaking pickup for Team Belgium. We're going to have to see the Weasel again soon, aren't we?
I mean, isn't this just game over regardless? Because you just Brawl, and then you can put your face into anything that survives on the opposite side. No, okay, it's not quite there. There's no guaranteed way that I can see.
It's a very, very high percentage, though. If one of his own minions wins the Brawl, then he wins every time. Actually, no, it is lethal either way because he makes these trades, he plays the Brawl, he can execute whichever taunt survives.
Yep.
And then, yeah.
Very correct. If a taunt does survive, that's the only way that France would have kept in it, and now he can execute it. So Belgium are actually going to take this one 3-0, and that means they qualify, which is absolutely fantastic for them. They'll be through to stage 2. Unfortunately for France, it means they cannot qualify. They will be on 1 and 3, still 1 game left to play against Denmark. But actually, that could be a significant one. I will touch upon that later. But a massive, massive win for Belgium, who will move on to stage 2.
We didn't see the Weasel on full screen there. He did it while it was still in small cow. And I'm a little bit relieved. I had nightmares after seeing that before, but such a great win for Belgium. The second 3-0 of the day, and one that's going to have Belgium celebrating for quite a long time, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd imagine so as well. Just looking at all the classes then that were brought by both teams, Unid and Chinoy's not actually having to play today because of a nice 3-0 sweep for Belgium. Maverick, Arne and Ulik getting the wins with Rogue, Paladin and Warrior respectively. They'll be feeling very pumped and very confident going into stage 2.
Chinoy's was so ready with his baguette as well. I could see it in his eyes, ready for action.
I don't think he'll mind though. I think he'll be more than happy that his team's just got the 3-0 win and gone through.
I guess you and Lorinda are very much, winning oriented. I'm all about playing the game as a team and having fun. I think that just makes me wrong though.
But I mean, he had fun by watching his team win, so...
They all played together. It's a team effort regardless.
All right, let's have a little chat with Arne then and find out how he's feeling. What an amazing win for you, Arne. I mean, your team must be over the moon at the moment. Did you see that happening when you first entered the Global Games?
No, definitely not. We were 0-2 in the beginning, and we were kind of thinking like, well, maybe this is not our tournament. But right now we're really happy. Like, we just can't believe it.
Yeah, you managed to turn it around.
Arne,
Yeah.
talk to me about the Paladin that you played. It was a complete blowout for Talk's Mage. Talk me through some of the decisions you made when building the deck. Well, there's a lot of different ways of building Paladin at the moment. Where on the spectrum would you say yours is?
I think it's probably one of the more aggressive lists, if not the most aggressive, because we run like 9-1, like 6 1-drops, Bluegill Warriors. So. And we even run the Rallying Blades instead of True Silvers to just deal with the early board more.
And what is it you're hoping to run into with that? Like, why do you choose the more aggressive one? A lot of other players have been favoring control recently.
I just think the aggro one is it's just better to play overall. And we also paired it with the Mage. Like, we built a Freeze Mage to pair it alongside. So it's good. We have a deck that's really good against aggro, and we have just an aggro deck.
Okay.
So if we see a bad matchup for the Paladin, we just BQ the Mage, and vice versa.
And some people just prefer to play aggro as well. Now, Oleg seems to have a little bit of a mascot. He has the little weasel that he seems to be getting out on camera at every game. Do you think that's something that you might bring to the live finals if you were to make it that far?
Yeah, I think Olias really likes his weasel, so if he gets another chance to show it on stream, he will definitely do it.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to seeing that one. Thanks for joining us, and congratulations, because you guys will be moving on to stage 2.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Everyone likes to see Olesh's weasel.
Oleg really likes his weasel. That is quote of the Hearthstone Global Games for me so far.
Belgium in such a fantastic position. They move on to stage 2. And France, however, are eliminated. But it seems like they just couldn't do anything in this series, Dan. Their backs were against the wall from the get-go. Unfortunately, they couldn't win the Quest Rogue Mirror, and then from then it was just all downhill.
Favorite game of the series for me, this one. It was the one that was less of a blowout. There was so many mind games going on here at the start of that game. Both players going as far out of their way as they could to disrupt each other, prevent each other from completing the quest by doing some weird things with igneous elementals, freezing them, bouncing them, etc. But eventually, as you say, Belgium came ahead and won the game. This was the blowout. This was Paladin. In fact, it was such a blowout that we just saw about 1 second of it and moved on. Paladin just overrunning the Mage and not giving Talk a chance there.
And Oleg got his weasel out on stream as well. We've seen it featured twice in 2 weeks now, Dan. And as I said, maybe it's just going to be a running joke for Belgium. It might be their good luck charm.
I don't think it's a joke, Dan. I think it's deadly serious business.
Perhaps. The perfect draws for Ulik as well. The fact he was able to get that sleep with the fishes, dealt with this initial board, and then of course the brawl later was just the icing on the cake for Belgium, and it is going to be some sweet, sweet cake as well moving on into stage 2. Now, Denmark were hoping that of course France were going to win this one to keep their hopes of qualification alive. I believe, if I've done my calculations correct, there is still a very small hope for Denmark. If they were to win their game 3-0 versus France, and we saw Canada lose 3-0 to Kazakhstan, they would be tied with a +2 difference, and it would go down to a further tiebreaker, which I believe Denmark are in a good chance for.
I'm no expert, Dan, at tiebreakers, but I feel as though that sounds pretty unlikely. Having to win your game 3-0 and relying on another game that you have nothing to do with, by the way, to also go 3-0 in the opposite direction to the one that everyone's expecting.
I'm an optimist. I just want to give some hope to those guys of Denmark, because they were sat at home watching. They'll be a bit miserable now.
I'm usually an optimist too, but I'm in Lorinda's seat right now. I'm going to play his role. I'm going to say I don't think it's going to happen, Denmark.
I don't think I'd ever want to play Lorinda's role, to be honest. Group F then, there's the updated table for you. France fall to 1 and 3. They can no longer qualify. Belgium move on to stage number 2. And as we said, Denmark are going to be hoping and praying that they can have some sort of favourable results with Canada as well. But Canada will be looking for blood after they were 3-0'd by Malaysia previously. They'll want to finish it off strong and make sure that they can move on to the second stage of the Global Games.
All of the groups just at this incredible stage at the moment where anything could happen at any time. Really not looking good for France and Kazakhstan, but on the other side of things, like it's not looking great for Denmark either. If we've talked to death about that, it's just pretty sad.
It is unfortunate, but they will still be hopeful. But that is going to be Group F done for the day. But now we move back to Group C then. Russia versus Argentina. We do have a chance for one of those guys to qualify for the second stage as well. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back very shortly.
We're almost there. Quiet down, everyone. This is not like any of our previous expeditions. This will be far more ambitious. We're stepping into a land of primordial wonder. Infused with astonishing elemental energies. The plant life here holds very unusual properties. So don't touch anything. And while you may be excited to see the local fauna, you might want to make sure they don't see you. Because their powers of adaptation are devastating. Make no mistake, we will be tested at every turn. But if we stay on our guard, we might just survive. Now then, are you ready? Then let's journey into Ongoro Crater.